My name is Steve Jenkins. I'm Deputy Chairman of the Leyton Orient Supporters Club. I'm also the historian as regards the O's service in the Great War. I've written a book called They Took the Lead, which tells the story of Orient service in the 17th Middlesex Footballers Battalion, and also covers the lives of the three lads that were killed on the Somme.
Steve, why is today such an important and significant event?
Well, it's 100 years ago yesterday that Clapton Orient, as the O's were called at the time, played their last game of the season against Leicester Fosse. Straight after the game, they got into the uniforms and went off to training camp with the rest of the footballers in the 17th Middlesex, ultimately to end up fighting in northern France with some of the fiercest conflicts that took place in the Great War.
And can you tell us a little bit about what's happened today already and what's to come?
Well, they've had a commemorative match on the AstroTurf just outside this area here, reenacted the game of Clapton Orient against Leicester Fosse. Pleased to see the O's won 3-0, which is one better than 100 years ago. We've also had, obviously, welcoming speeches by various dignitaries here, welcoming the people that are here. We've got the families of the three footballers that were killed during the Great War with us today. They've come a great distance, I may add. So it's not over yet. At half-time, there's going to be a commemoration on the pitch and a presentation and an introduction to the families, to all the supporters that are attending the game. There's also the band of the HAC, the Honourable Artillery Corps, here today, playing music from the era, which will be fantastic. And we'll also have a parading of the Somme banner, which we had made when we went over on our Somme trips. The Somme banner that's on show today has been on the Somme at some of the cemeteries and at the resting places of the three Orient lads.
And sort of part of today as well is to kind of launch the project by Leyton Orient Trust to take this story out to younger generation of people and the wider community. How important do you think it is that story is told to those people?
Well, it's so important. I mean, I've been visiting a couple of schools in the area, and when you talk to them, they can't understand how footballers would go over and fight as they did. You see their jaws drop wide open, and the excitement is there for them all to see. I mean, these lads that served 100 years ago, the vast majority of them were innocent to what they were letting themselves in for. They thought it was a big adventure, an excursion, a holiday abroad. And it wasn't until they was in the front line, faced with the terrible gunfire and shelling that they had to contend with, that they realised that they was in big trouble.
So a very significant and important day all round.
Certainly is. This brings together the community, certainly all the Leyton Orient supporters, and also I like to think that the Sheffield United supporters are taken on board as well. But not only that, 100 years ago, this story was almost forgotten, and I'm so pleased and proud that if it wasn't for the fact that I actually picked up on a couple of paragraphs in one of the Orient history books, that I decided to pursue this further and go over to France and visit the resting places of William Jonas, Richard McFadden and George Scott. It's then escalated with my book, They Took the Lead, which was then resulted in numerous trips to the Somme, taking over 1,000 people there now, and we're already fully booked for next year. And all I can say, if anyone is listening to this or watching this interview, I urge you to get over to the Somme in July 2016 for the centenary commemorations.